as you know, we're here to speak about the golf courses and just kind of the Southwest Idaho Development Center and the development that is being proposed by the state on land that the city leases for 2 of its golf courses. Kind of my first question is just wanted to know, the golf courses are well loved by those who use them. They're kind of seen as a gateway by some. I'm curious what you think about our city's golf courses.
Well, I absolutely love them. I've been here for 37 years, and I can remember Centennial being built. I worked for a company that was very involved in putting the money forward to build those courses. So I absolutely love them. Golfed on both of them many, many times. Have good memories and some bad memories of errant shots, but they're a real asset for our city.
And it's kind of interesting, you mentioned you've golfed on them. I've had others who claim they think you don't golf. How much of a golfer are you?
Well, I like to golf. I'm a terrible golfer. I mean, I'm just a terrible golfer. Anybody who golfs with me would confirm that. I had a friend tell me once, we were looking for golf balls, and he said, doesn't matter what golf ball you buy, the golf ball is a better golf ball than you are a golfer. So anyway, but yeah, I golfed a lot there.
So speaking of SWITC, the rezone was passed by the Planning Commission with a favorable recommendation last week, and it goes on to the City Council. You're obviously probably going to be at that meeting. You're usually at City Council meetings. What do you expect is going to occur? What kind of decision do you think the City Council might come up with?
Well, probably I would assume the presentation would be about the same that was made to P&Z, because it's the Planning and Zoning makes a recommendation to City Council, and then City Council has final say. So I would assume we'd hear a lot of the same information that was heard at Planning and Zoning, and then it would be up to Council to make a decision if they wanted to approve a rezone and a comprehensive plan amendment.
How involved would you expect yourself to be in that discussion?
I will be involved, and if there's a vote taken, I would only be involved if it was a tie vote, and then I would need to break the tie. So Council usually, especially on this, I can see some lively discussion. It is a City Council meeting, and it's a City Council decision, and I'm the mayor, and so I run the council meeting, but I'm not a council member. I only break ties.
Does the city have any obligation to consider, Centennial's history? I mean, it was built 29 years ago with a lot of volunteer labor. There's a lot of emotional attachment to the golf course and Ridgecrest too, I'm sure. Does the city have any obligation to the golf course and its history when it's making this kind of a decision?
Well, it's part of the discussion, but I've heard many times the city needs to do something. And so my response is, well, tell me what that something is. So when you say responsibility, it's we don't own the property, and I've said that many times. And the Department of Health and Welfare said we need to do something better with that ground. And as a property owner, that's kind of their right, and I don't know what we can do to stop that. And to go a little further, this is really just a zoning change. This doesn't mean that if that's approved that tomorrow the golf courses go away. It just means that it is now zoned GB, and the comprehensive plan is amended, period. But the next day the sun comes up, the golfers will still be golfing, regardless of the decision. But if you were at the P&Z and with my discussions with Health and Welfare, they have decided that they need to get a better return on their investment. 500 acres is about what the golf courses use, and $47,000 annual return on 500 acres of prime real estate is not a good return, and they've made it pretty clear that their expectation is they can do better. One of the things I've heard is, let's just buy the ground.
Yeah.
And so I actually talked to Health and Welfare about that, and they don't have an exact value for what the golf course ground is worth, but what they're saying is that the total 600 acres is worth $127 million, and the golf course is on about 80% of that property. So you can kind of do the math and figure out that it would be an expensive piece of ground.
This is both courses you're
Both
talking?
courses, yeah. Or pick one of them, and then it would just be a smaller. 80% it would be each course. Rough numbers, it's about 40% of that property. So you could say, well, 40% of 127 million is $50 million or whatever. I can tell you our bonding capacity is 57 million right now. That's our maximum capacity. It would also take a vote of the public, and it would take a 2/3 vote to do that. My personal opinion is that would be a tough sell, because that would be a pretty good bump in property taxes. And if you've been around Nampa very long, you recognize that one of the things that got me elected is people were frustrated with their property taxes.
Has the state, I guess, expressed interest in even selling it to you?
Their interest is in selling the property, and they could answer it better than me. But what they want, they don't want to develop it themselves. So if the check was written from the city of Nampa for $70 million, just to pick a number, they probably wouldn't care if it came from the city of Nampa or from a developer, because the money would go to them. So they had said there's an interest in it. There'd have to be a lot more work trying to determine values and things like that, and appraisals, and it would be a time-consuming thing. But my struggle would be, and I think council's struggle would be, is there an appetite for the city of Nampa by a 2/3 vote to approve a bond? So the question then is, we know our lease expires in December of 2019. And so what's on everybody's mind is what happens then. And those are talks I'm having with them. Is, so let's just say, for sake of argument, that the zoning goes through and the comprehensive plan amendment is approved. But December of 2019 comes along and there is no interested developer then. What's health and welfare going to do? And so my talks with them is I'm trying to work out an agreement, if that was to happen, so that we can keep the golf courses open at a price that is affordable for our community. I know for a fact it's going to be a lot more than $47,000 a year. But I want to begin those discussions now, so that we can tell our citizens that if there is a plan going forward, if no developer comes forward.
What has the state said so far about that?
They're interested in talking with me.
They are interested in it?
Yes, you bet, because at December 31st it expires. The state can do one of three things. They can shut the golf course down and turn it into rangeland. They can take the golf courses over. Don't think they'd want to do that. Or they could continue to lease it to the city of Nampa, and just at renegotiated rates and probably renegotiated terms on what it would take to terminate a lease and things like that. But I would be very interested and will be involved in those type of discussions.
Personally, what would you like to see occur? Would you like to see as far as the future of the golf courses in that land? Well,
what I'd like to see, it's not based in reality. I'd like to see the golf courses stay. I love the golf courses. I love coming to this community and seeing those golf courses along the freeway. It's a wonderful amenity and a wonderful attraction for our community. But we don't own the ground. The ground is owned by the state of Idaho. And when the Department of Health and Welfare is going to the legislature every year and saying, I need more money, and rightfully so, for other things, Medicare expand, pick what it is that they want to expand. And legislators are saying, wait a minute, you're sitting on this asset, $120 million asset, and you're getting a $47,000 annual return. Before you come to us for more money, maybe you better be doing something with that asset that you say is surplus. So it's a valid argument.